In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, new forms of familiar Pokemon have been released called Paradox Pokemon. These Pokemon, depending on which version you're playing, are either older forms of Pokemon that are prehistoric or Pokemon that are sent off in some distant future. But what do these Pokemon mean exactly in the Pokemon world? How do they tie to our modern era of Pokemon, and why do they exist in the same timeline? What's good, Chaotic Nation? It's your boy Chaos here, and today I wanted to look specifically at Pokemon Violet and the future Paradox Pokemon to determine just what these are, or what meanings do these Pokemon have for the future of the world and the future of the society in the Pokemon world. So let's take a look at what does it mean for the future of humanity and Pokemon in the Pokemon world. When I was thinking about this theory, I came up with a few different ideas of how this could happen and why these Pokemon would look the way they do and take shape the way they take shape. I wanted to take a look into the Violet exclusive Paradox Pokemon specifically because they all resemble animatronic looking Pokemon. These Pokemon are coated in some kind of metal armor, despite not all being steel types, which would make sense as a metal looking Pokemon should resemble a steel Pokemon type. That's not the case here. A lot of these Pokemon have different typings based on the Pokemon they take shape from. You have Iron Hands, which is a variant of Hariyama that is fighting and electric, still retaining its fighting typing, but also gathering a new electronic typing. Maybe that electric typing ties into the animatronic kind of thing, as it is powered by electricity. The reason I got so interested in these Iron Pokemon is that it does showcase the future of Pokemon. In the games, Chiro will mention that these Pokemon come from the future, assuming that he is talking about the future of the world that you are living on. It doesn't quite mean that it's a good future. I say that because all of these Pokemon are animatronic, which are animatronic looking. They have parts and design like machines rather than like organic beings. And this could be a couple of different things as to why this is happening. My first theory on the issue is that in the future of Pokemon, these mechanic Pokemon are created by humans in order to refill the population of Pokemon that were extinct in the wild. This came about because human evolution began creating bigger and bigger cityscapes, taking away the natural resources of Pokemon, much like we do in the real world with animals. We take their land and use it take the trees for timber and for fuel, and cultivate the land in order to make transportation and for natural resources. So in this world in the future, one aspect of how these Pokemon are now autonomized is because humans had to create Pokemon in order to keep them around. People couldn't live in a world without Pokemon in it, and they became incredibly wary once all of these species of Pokemon are gone. This could mean that there are still some forms of organic life in these realms. We notice in Area Zero that there are Pokemon that are not mechanic. These Pokemon would be pieces of the present era now in the future, the past forms of the current future Pokemon, if you're looking at it that way. These could just be Pokemon who survived the destruction of the natural world and are adapting to the new areas, but still retain their similar forms because they have the capabilities in their genetic makeup to be able to function in the world that is left over after everything is gone. My other theory that I originally thought of was that Pokemon were created to be genetic and formed in science research labs. We see that in entries like Mewtwo, where DNA tests of Mew were actually created to create a new life form, which was named Mewtwo. So these iron forms of contemporary Pokemon were created as experiments, maybe by Team Rocket, maybe by some other evil organization, maybe just by a person who was interested in creating new forms of Pokemon and wanted them to be around. If you want to take a piece of the previous theory and add it into they were trying to conserve Pokemon, that was maybe what they did. But the thing that I caught on to with the Area Zero of the game is that everybody refers to it as a dangerous place to go because there are incredibly powerful Pokemon that are found there. These Pokemon are the iron variants that we see of their contemporary counterparts. And so maybe humanity is afraid of these Pokemon because they don't quite look like the Pokemon that we know about and we are aware of. Maybe there is some xenophobia about these Pokemon since they are a new species of Pokemon we see in Legends Arceus, where people are afraid of Pokemon simply because they have not researched and studied them, which is the job of the main character in those games, to kind of go out and complete the Pokédex, understand these Pokemon, learn from them, and facilitate a world which people can live alongside of Pokemon. So that could just be a way that these Pokemon are seen. They're seen as terrifying creatures rather than normal Pokemon because they are metallic in structure. But I think an even darker theory comes from these iron Pokemon. What if the world of the future was taken over by AI? Many fantasy novels and movies have showcased the potential of AI learning about humanity and becoming even more intelligent. There are fears of our toasters taking over the world because they eventually become so smart and intelligent because of their AI programming that they know all the answers. They become smarter than humanity, and instead of having humanity use them as machines, they just destroy them. This comes from a very dark future where humanity is what is wiped out, not just the Pokemon, but humans as well. Now, while I was researching this, there was one other additional theory that I came upon that I thought carried some merit, so I wanted to include it in this video. And that is, what if these Pokemon are not from? Perhaps it is because these Pokemon are not from the Pokemon version of Earth that they look so different from our counterparts in the contemporary time. We saw something like this with the Ultra Beast in Pokemon Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where these Pokemon are very differently designed than traditional Pokemon. They look completely otherworldly. And maybe these Pokemon that are the Iron variants look different because they do not come from the version of Earth that we are familiar with in the Pokemon world. Perhaps the Paradox Pokemon are just simply different variations of Ultra Beasts that have power and come from a distant time, but maybe also a distant place. This game is so caught up in using time as its signature, as a representation of the differences in eras, and doesn't look at the opportunity of space and different timelines. Perhaps these Pokemon are just aliens, and they are coming to us through a portal that Professor Churro created. There are entries that back up each of these theories, and so it's kind of hard to determine which one is actually the truth. There are rumors that say that Iron Threads is some kind of weapon technology not of this world. It's not known for sure, but maybe it comes from somewhere else. Similarly, Iron Moth may be some sort of UFO that is controlled by an alien that is just waiting to mount an invasion of Earth. If you want to look into the first theory I mentioned, where Pokemon were created because of the loss of natural organisms, we can look into Iron Bundle, which plenty of theories have been floating around about it. A leading one suggests that it was a product of a long ago civilization, a robot of sorts, notated by ancient writings that describe the design in machines resembling Iron Bundle. Or perhaps you think of Iron Hands, who is a Pokemon that was believed once to be an athlete, but became mortally wounded and was kept alive by being made into a cyborg. I also think the entries for the Pokemon being created into like robots or cyborgs could also play into the second theory that the AI is gotten better and just took over the world because they had the power to and became smarter than humanity. They both fit for either version of the first or second theory. I just find these Pokemon to be incredibly interesting. They have a lot of lore and theory behind them about what the future of the Pokemon world holds. And I think it's up to you in the comment section down below. Let me know which of these theories makes the most sense to you and which one do you subscribe to. Speaking of subscribing, make sure you are subscribed to this channel so that way you do not miss any theories or videos like this in the future. I do a lot of Pokemon content here, so if you want to see more, I would recommend going down below, hitting that subscribe button. Also, make sure you leave a like on this video because it does help me out in the fluctuation of the YouTube algorithm. If you want to see more from me, you can check out the links in the description below on Twitter, Discord, TikTok, Twitch, and I have another YouTube channel called Invisible Corporations where I do non-Pokemon related things. So if you want to check out any of those, their links are in the description down below. Please join us over there. I'd love to have you on other platforms. But that is going to be it for this video. I am curious to see what you will have to say about this. And you can let me know if you want to see more videos about the future Paradox Pokemon or even the past Paradox Pokemon. There's a lot of information that these Pokemon hold. Some as invalid experience that just went wrong, or machines created to be objects of war. There's so many differences with these Pokemon that there's a lot of information that we could discuss and a lot of things we could talk about. So let me know if you're interested in seeing more of these kinds of things. And who knows, they may just be videos that come to you soon. But that is going to be it for me today. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed. And until next time, my name is Chaos. I am signing off. Stay safe. And as always, burn it up.